But I'll just so you get the feel of the idea of it, I'll play it through for you. Such a beautiful song, right? And Makana, he did a really I love Makana's version of this. He on his album Ka Wailele O Nu'uanu, he did a really nice version of this singing. Definitely have to hear the brothers Casimiro. Wailele, what's a Wailele? Waterfall. And so Nu'uanu is an area on Oahu, a really beautiful, lush area, beautiful valley that goes back. I drive across it all the time, going to where I live in the windward side of the island, going into town. And I feel so like blessed and lucky to be able to drive through there. And I always look up and see the waterfall. And it's the highest peak of the Ko'olaus in that area. And all year round, there's a trickle that goes down. Then the rainy season, about 20 other waterfalls join it. When there are these really, it's called uhivai, this like a cloud that hugs the mountains. Then when it clears, it reveals all these waterfalls. The song Wahine Ilekea, that's sort of the metaphor, the same with probably the cliffs of Molokai on the east end here. But there's an amazing thing, and I've seen it once in my life, and I'm so glad that I saw it because I never really, no, that can't be. But the wind blows really strong through the valley sometimes, and it pushes up off the north, the trade winds blow up the mountain. And it's so strong sometimes that it pushes the waterfall up into the air, and it looks like the trunk of an elephant. It's an upside down waterfall, and then it turns into mist, but you actually see it like a hose that's doing this. I saw it once, and people were pulled over on the side of the road, and I didn't have a phone, so I couldn't take a photo. But it was pretty breathtaking, amazing to see. Because the wind, it can be so strong at the top of the pulley there. There are all these beautiful hiking trails that connect there. That waterfall goes down and flows all the way to the ocean through Chinatown and downtown Honolulu, but it starts up there in the mountains. There's different names for the wind and rain, the Ko'olau Popo rain. And so this song, Jay Kauka was a language teacher. I think he actually still is active, still teaching at Kamehameha schools, and he wrote this for his father. So it's a very heartfelt song when his father passed away. Just remembering his childhood in Nu'uanu, that waterfall. There's a hiking trail. You hike through amazing forest of ginger, of avapuhi. When it's in bloom, it's like a tree tunnel you're climbing through to get to this waterfall. It's amazing. It's at the end. If you're ever on Oahu, you drive through the Old Pali Road. Right where the Old Pali Road ends, there's a little parking area, and then you'll just see hikers constantly going back in there. So that takes you to the waterfall. But what's really nice about the song is it has incredible chord motion. There are a lot of chords that go by, and there are possibilities of where you could play them. But the intro is just, by adding one note to your G chord, it sounds really pretty. We're just going to make it what's called add 9 by adding the note A with the second fret to the G. And I do that at the very end too, where you can reach up and get a high. Yeah. And you could try with your fingering, get your pinky curved like this, and even like bring that part of your hand in closer to the neck. Even touch. Try to see, can you do this? Just by leaning, not by squeezing here, but by actually rotating the forearm. Now your hand's more parallel this way. Try to think of that as your balance, and then your index finger can either reach back. It'll really strengthen your left hand. We talked a little bit about that the other day. But instead of being like this, you want to try to swap things around. Get this closer, really curved, so that's curved. And then this is strong. Your index finger can reach. Look how far it can reach all over the place. It just leans its way back to get that. So this would be a good chord for you to practice to get that. Open up here. Right now. Let it open up like that. That looks good. Yep. So that's what I do for the intro. I play that chord. Then I go to a D7, and I arpeggiate 6, 2, 3, 2, 3. That happens a couple times. So you might hold your second finger down. Then all you have to do is add your first finger to get the D7. The melody, I'm sorry, the printer, I don't know, my version, yours hopefully is better. It's a little scrunched in measure 5, but those are open strings on the second string. You hold that G chord again with the second fret on there on the third string. Then this next chord, D minor 7, it looks like an F chord shape. You hold 3, 2, and 1, and you add a 6th string in the bass. Then you lift off your first finger, play the 5th string in the bass to the 3rd string in the melody, then to the open string. You know how when we just did our jam session song, we often had a measure 2 a G7 and measure 3 we had a C? This song does the same thing, but instead of just playing the G7, adding in that D minor 7 to G7, it makes it more contemporary sound. So you get this sort of sound. It's really pretty, so it sounds like... Then instead of just a plain old C, it's a C major 7. And this is going to be good practice for your pinky once again. But get it way up over the 5th fret. We're going to go 5, 5th string, 5th fret, 4th string, 4th fret. And then we're going to play to the 2nd string. This is a really pretty chord. It's a major 7. 5 on the 5th string, 4 on the 4th string. If you're playing in standard tuning, it'd just be like a C chord without your first finger, but we have to work for it because of the tuning. There are some might play the 5th fret, but having this note in there is nice. Then what's going to happen, there's a little bit of bass motion. From this chord, we're going to just add the 4th fret, walking down to A, 2, 2, 0. Then it's going to sneak up in the middle and play the 3rd fret. With that chord, I didn't really fill in the whole chord, but see above it, I labeled it as an A sharp diminished. It goes B flat diminished. The diminished chord, you just bar your first finger across the top 2 strings. Just 2 strings. You add the 3rd finger, almost like an F chord shape, but so that your 2nd finger can grab the bass note. It's a weird chord on its own, but in context, it's really beautiful as a pass chord. 2nd finger on the lower note, 3rd finger tucks underneath it. And then the 1st finger bars here. So it's 3 on the 5th, 3 on the 3rd, 2, 2. I love this chord. Move it every 3 frets. There's your, it's a moving diminished chord.
Which one?
it's where in the music it says A sharp diminished. I just wrote the bass and the melody, but I'm just filling in some of it here. So I'll play so far, going into measure 5. There's the 4th string open is a melody note that's sung, so that's an important note, the last note of the first line. Here's that D minor 7 to G7, moving down. Open up the hand, get over the strings. And then here's where that diminished chord happens, right here. This next chord, you go up to the 4th fret. The 2nd fret with the 1st finger. Then this, I love this E7 chord. If you've played standard tune, you know a D chord. You move your D chord way down low to the 1st fret of the 5th string, like your D chord shape. But now your pinky, you play the 2nd fret, on and on. That's a really cool E7 chord. Yeah. That's basically what's happening in measure 10. Then we're going to go to an A bar, and then C minor. We did that when we did the vamp of Ka Wailele the other day. You can add the 6th string. I often add that too, 1st fret of the 6th string. So it's 1, 1, 1, every other string. That's what happens the second half of measure 11. Then we drop into the basic D7 chord. So we can break the song into basically like 3 phrases. That's the first phrase. Let me play it again so you can get an idea. You can arpeggiate around what's there a little bit more. Like here, I might fill in more arpeggios. Here's that chord we did. And then you have to move the melody in the 2nd string to the A, C minor, and then D7. I'll do it a few more times. Measure 5. Passing chord to D7. Now this is my favorite part of the piece. G goes to something we don't run into every day, is an augmented chord. 4, 4, 5. Is that a great sound? It's just pulling to C. The G chord rises up like chromatic motion up to C. Then it walks down 4 and 3. 5th and high string, 1st and 2nd finger, then that backs down 2 frets and you get a B minor, or A minor chord, A minor 7. 2, 2, 0, 1. Back to the B minor chord. Measure 17. I leave the 3rd string open. Then this is a cool passing chord. It's an F chord, 6th string and the 4th string with a 3rd finger and pinky at the 3rd fret. This 3rd string open, 2nd string 1st fret. This is the F add 9 chord. Not hard to play. That goes to an E sus. Then I re-finger to, or you can use your pinky there. And then an E. So it's like you just add your pinky and remove it. 2nd fret of the 6th, 4th, and 3rd string. I think that this sort of process, this is the challenging part of the song, just recognizing the shapes. Once you see them, they're not too hard to play.
No, they're easy to play on their own.
Yeah, you just got to remember them all. There's so many, right? So this song keep you on your toes.
It's all about the flow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And actually,
I like this chord. I've played this, and I've always wondered.
Yeah, is that pretty?
What that is?
It's a type of B minor chord. It's like a G in the bass. Yeah. Like a straight B minor is like this,
yeah,
but it's using these open strings.
Yeah, I like
There's a B minor 7. Yeah. Like A minor 7. Yeah.
This is the B minor 7.
Yeah, that's one way. And then you put your 1st finger. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, perfect. And then another way is like the A minor 7, just moved up 2 frets. Almost like A minor standard, but you move that down. There's a straight minor chord, but you can often take off that finger. gives it extra interesting open note. Yeah, that's a movable shape.
Wow. That's cool.
That's a cool chord, yeah. You'll find with a lot of these chord shapes, once you've figured out a fingering, just experiment, move it up and down the fingerboard and see what you like. Ihiuka, it does that all over the place.
Yeah.
Like using a chord like moving that shape around, right? They're all kind of related to what we're doing at just different spots. So you get all these interesting passing chords. I'll play so far what we've covered. So the intro. You want to try that? Now the trick to making the chords smooth is figuring out which fingers you're going to put down first. So watch, I don't always just block out the chord. I put fingers down as needed. Here, they're all together. But first I'd put down this note, and then I'd make the chord. Then outside notes, and then I make the inside chord. That's what's going to smooth it out. I might use these 3 fingers here, then here comes the augmented. It can be open or here. Then the C, walking down. This first, and then I add that one. That one little extra bit of time you have to find that note will smooth it out. For example, measure 18. I just play the bass note, and then I fill in these 2 notes. The very last note, you have a C chord at the bottom of the page. It's really hard to read, but that's a 6 in the bass. The second to last note of the first page, and it says C sharp diminished. It's like that chord shape again, but we're playing the melody on the second string. Then measure 21 is really pretty. It's like that chord you did, but up a fret, and it's the 5-5-3. You put a D in the bass on the 4th string, going up. D sus, and then you just drop it down there. And the difference here is these 2 fingers go up one set of strings. Yep, there. And then that stays. But that stays on the there. And then you play a 6th string. So it's a D7. Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
That chord. And then it just goes back to straight D7s like that. Yep. Yeah.
Do you have this recording on your website of one of the lessons?
Yeah. There is a lesson on my website for this, yeah. I also recorded it. I did a duet version. There are 2 guitars playing it, based on this arrangement on the Kanani o Kiho Alu album that I did. So you can listen to that. Yeah, but there's a lesson. It's good we didn't do this after lunch. It would have been impossible. With all these chords.
Try before lunch.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah. But if you just work measure by measure, it's worth the effort because it's so beautiful. And then listen to the way that Sonny plays it, the way that Ozzy plays it, the Casimiro version. Listen to as many versions as you can. You'll get some other ideas of what you might do. Passing chords, they're so great. So if you're going to go from this note to that note, it's just a matter of putting stepwise motion. That's something that happens a lot in the songs. Just little subtle adjustments to chords. The last phrase is at measure 22. We just did this D7 chord, 21, then it resolves. This phrase is pretty straightforward, the last one. Open strings. Back to that 5th string of the bass with the C. I use my first finger to grab the melody notes, kind of moving around. Then back to the G add 9. Measure 26. This is a great example of a walking bass that moves up. So the bass is going. And there's a melody above it. So the goal is to leave those fingers down. get sustained. It's implying A minor, B minor, C to D. That goes to the first ending. When I played it, then what I do, I didn't write it out, but I go up an octave. And I play, like most of the song works that when it gets to the bottom of page 1, it goes up really high up the next, so then I jump back down to the lower octave. But it's really pretty doing it here. I go C major 7, I sometimes use bar chords, or I do it. And then you get the higher chords. E7, C minor, D. Then just it's the same chord up here. Then I go down to a C, D minor A, G minor F. It's the same chords, it's just up an octave. Then at this point I jump back down to the end of page 1. It's possible to this last part of an octave as well. Then the second ending goes to E minor 9, which is one of my favorite Taro Patch chords. It's 2, 4, 4, and then all open strings. Yeah. I remember how we did the E7, like that D shape on the 5th string. The pinky down, move that up to the 6th fret, and you get a cool A7. So make a D chord shape, low, good, 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 and then put your pinky down on the high string. Yep, move that up. That's a really nice A7.
Where's the pinky?
Pinky's on the high
It's on the
string.
high string.
There, one higher, one higher.
So what is that?
A7.
Oh wow. It's a very full sounding.
Very full sound. Yeah, it doesn't have a. If you had a thumb or something, there isn't an A in the bass, but it's got a cool note in the bass. You see that measure 31. There's where it's laid out. 6, 7, 6, 0, 7. Then it goes back to the walk up. Back to the intro to end. So worth the effort to learn this one. It's really nice. How did it feel in the B flat tuning? Pretty nice, right? Where you don't have to do big stretches. Yeah, right. A lot to remember though. There's so many chords. It has so many more chords than your typical Hawaiian standard. Yeah. That's why I think listening to some vocal versions will help you to hear the melody. Yeah, nice.
I remember you told me I was measuring 22. Usually on the second time around, just hit that root on the nice and soft.
Yeah.
Pour it out.
Yeah. And you can play, like, moving your right hand position more over the fingerboard will give you a warmer sound. A piece like this, you can work on your phrasing, and it doesn't have to be perfectly, it can slow down, it can push it right, it can be a little bit rubato, like we mentioned before. If you watch someone like Keola play or Ozzy, almost every single block chord is rolled. So whenever you have a big chord, instead of just, it's much more expressive. So you start low and work your way up. That's a really nice thing to do. Taro Patch, I think he does it in Taro Patch, yeah. I can't remember what tuning Makana does it. It might be in G as well, but he sings it. It's really a great version. Does anyone else know any other versions of this that you've heard before?
Well, Ozzy's version.
Ozzy's version? Yeah. Yeah. Brothers Casimiro, that's the definitive version. Yeah.
Are there any female versions?
That's a good question. It would be great if there was.
I mean, McCona sings it, and he sings the words along with it.
Yeah, and the brothers Casimiro sing the words. Yeah. There's a whole story and there's a story behind it.
Yeah.
But he learned it from the brothers Casimiro version. And then the version that Ozzy Kotani does, I think he plays it on a nylon string, and it's really beautiful sounding. Open G, but that's instrumental. I did a version of it of all things with an air flute player. It's a Bowden, so it works the melody. If you want a lead sheet, I have one that you could read the melody. It's a really beautiful melody, very long held notes. One thing you might try to really improve knowing the tuning is just to do accompaniment. And that's what I would think if I'm accompanying someone singing, or let's say a violinist playing. If Elizabeth was playing a melody and we accompanied her, just being able to do something like this. G, I'll read from measure 5. I need a D minor 7 to a G7. C major 7, I think I'm gonna choose this. I need an A7 to a diminished, to B minor, E7, A7, to C minor, to D7. I'll do the augmented on the 3rd string. I'll do C here, walking down. So this is really good practice. Just being able to, they call it kind of comping, or just playing through the chord voicings. F, E7 sus, C7, A minor, A minor, C sharp diminished, D7 sus. There's some repetitive little walks that happen. That happens a few times. I'll do it one more time. Imagine the melody being sung. So accompaniment, you could learn a lot from that process. Yeah, and you playing Ihi Uka, it's the same album. So it's like, this might have had
I know that song, like
inspiration, like some of the harmony here in Taro Patch and the way that it moves to some of the unusual chord shapes. There might be a little bit of a connection. Oh yeah. There's so much room that it could be. Yeah, the song. Let's see. Yeah, look up the Brothers Casimiro. It's so easy to find music now, right? So you can see how much you can find it online.
What do you have? And I hope to beg you to share some of that stuff. Yeah. I mean, I was. I do have all the That's not. Gotta pay more attention.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I was gonna get the blues. Sorry.
It's
So
a pretty. It's kind of.
yeah, it should be on.
Yeah, that's kind of.
Connected.
You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Play. I've got a tenor guitar and one which is
it sounds like it's G. Oh no, F. G, so you can play along with follow your chords.
You know what I mean? It's just hard.
I love how Roland Casimiro just keeps the eighth note. E7, here's measure 11. E7. Perfect for that flow, bel canto style of singing that he does. Operatic. E7 sus, E7. Here's the walk up. A minor, E minor. C. Here's this diminished. E7 sus. Roland Casimiro is just playing a 12 string in standard tuning, right? So this might be a standard tuning song that you try with it. The bass is pedaling a D here. It's kind of interesting. Then the walk up, B minor, measure 27. Here's the first end. Back one, turn around, next verse. Ooh, choirs. What key? They moved up, right? D, yep. So it actually modulates down. But isn't this pretty with a... It's like Kamehameha School's choir sound. Does that walk up? Diminished chord. Here's what would be G7 sus, not C7 sus. Actually, this is... That's the F and the bass, right? It's really cool, right? But the chords are changed. Like, that's a really cool thing. We're going to go to the C major 7, measure 24. He just holds a G in the bass. They're looping that. Ooh!
I like your version better.
This is back to C. I mean, back to G. Here's E minor. Here's play that cool A7 chord. Try it. Yeah. Pretty brilliant, yeah? Isn't it amazing?
Who was that? Singing?
That was the Brothers Casimiro. That
Oh, the
was
brother. Okay, right here. Yeah.
Robert Casimiro. Oh, there's a video from the Slack Key show of it being done. Ka Wailele O Nu'uanu. There are lots of live versions. There are choral versions of it. Let's see. Let's hear Makana. See what key he does it in. Listening always good, right? It just gives you like, some insights. It's A. Very closely following the chorus, the harmony of the melodies, kind of with a nice arrangement, different keys. Lots of space. Hear all the open space. There's a walk up. He's using a capo up pretty high. So it's like a C type thing. it's like going to F major, then down a fret, E flat, sort of thing. Nice use of the rubato. Then he sings. Really sparse accompaniment, yeah. Compared to that, the way that was strummed in the 12th, this is just like wide open. A little bit more driving tempo here. I think it's in an A. Is it? Or actually, it's in the key of E, sorry. It's E, yeah. He's playing an open D, but tuned up. It actually isn't capoed, it's open D, capoed up.
Oh,
I mean, open D, tuned
open
up to
D?
E.
Is in-
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that okay. And then he capo.
That was a live version, wasn't it?
A live version, yeah,
that
he
was-
did a
That
recorded
was slower
version.
than the Koi album.
Okay. But it'd be interesting to try it. You know, like I mentioned, like try out the different rooms and see how would open D work. The first step is to figure out what the chords would be, you know, in the new C, and you might have to write it down. Like there's a lot of transposing going on. But there are certain things that happen, like this little walk up. Just getting a sense of where those are. You can start to find it, you know, and you'll find that when you can start to transpose a little bit and look at maybe some similarities between fingerings. Most tunings, if you follow bass lines up and down one string and you know your one chord is here, before you know all the other notes that there, you know that 2 is here, 3. You can just walk up the scale on one string, and that could help you then to kind of navigate through all your different. So, but I think open D, it'd be a really nice tuning for the song as well. So, minor, major chords. At some point before he started singing, he went. So just walk down. And I'm walking down. So D would be really nice to bring that up. No, this one is G, A, D, F sharp on the 3rd string, and then A on the 2nd string. It sounds like he tuned it up like Jerry Santos does, up to E, open E. Yeah. Hey, how's it going? How you doing? Good. How are you?
Guess what I want?
Let's do it. Thanks, guys. That was a fun session. Okay, everyone, we're going to do the big guitar toss.
Can we get
That
sort
kind
of
of
bunched in a little bit?